Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are immersing ourselves in quite a unique market segment: zoos, wildlife parks, and safari destinations.
That's right.
And we're not just talking about the amazing animals or, the conservation work itself, but the really complex business side specifically, proving that your marketing dollars actually fund that vital work.
It really is the ultimate balancing act, isn't it? These places are so passionately mission-driven, conservation, education, that's paramount. That
Absolutely.
they have to operate as, well, financially sophisticated businesses to keep the lights on and the animals cared for.
So our mission today is to really unpack how marketing teams at these attractions can maximize their return on investment, their ROI, using let's call it a cohesive set of digital engagement tools.
Hmm.
We're moving way past the old paper maps and, static signs. The question is, how does technology transform just a day out into something measurable, personalized, and ultimately a funding stream?
And that measurement capability you mentioned, that's the absolute core strategic asset here. Every bit of marketing spend, it needs to justify itself.
Right.
Not just by selling a ticket, although that's important, but by genuinely advancing the overall mission.
Yeah.
These digital tools, they completely redefine how these places interact with their audience, how they improve satisfaction, and critically provide that measurable data they need to secure future funding for, actual species protection.
Okay, let's definitely unpack that. If we're aiming for real strategic depth here, we need to start by redefining what that R in ROI actually stands for in this very specific, very unique context. Is it purely dollars and cents, or is it, well, something more?
It absolutely has to be both. I mean, the traditional formula revenue minus cost, that still holds true, obviously.
Sure.
But success here is just so multidimensional. Zoos, parks, they rely heavily on that revenue to fund absolutely vital operations and those conservation programs we talked about. So marketing must deliver hard financial returns, no question.
Which means, okay, we definitely have to track the expanded metrics, right? The easy stuff, the low-hanging fruit,
Yeah.
is the direct financial return.
Mm.
Increased ticket sales, yeah, better membership conversion rates,
Mhm.
and that really crucial metric, increased spend per head once they're actually on site.
Mhm.
Food, gift shop stuff.
Absolutely. But the metrics that truly separate these places from, say, a standard theme park involve much deeper engagement.
Okay.
Things like higher guest satisfaction scores, because satisfied guests come back, right? They
Yeah.
feed retention. Also, significant growth in donations and philanthropic support. That's huge.
Right, the mission funding.
Exactly. And also enhancing public awareness of their specific conservation campaigns. We can actually measure that now through digital reach and tracking action conversion, like signing a petition or donating directly.
So we're really aiming for, like, impact per visitor, maybe. The digital strategy isn't just about making their day trip easier or more fun.
No, not at all.
It's about turning someone who just came for a day out into potentially a passionate advocate, maybe even a lifetime donor.
Precisely. And these digital tools, frankly, are the only efficient way to attract, engage, and retain those audiences while giving you the granular, measurable results that, the operations directors and the conservation funders are demanding these days.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The actual anatomy of this digital ecosystem. Because we're not just talking about, having a Facebook page or an Instagram account.
No, far from it.
We're talking about a truly cohesive, integrated stack of tools designed to track the visitor from, their couch, all the way through the park to the exit gate and maybe even back home again.
That's exactly right. So the first layer, you could say, is the foundational tech. And the undisputed cornerstone really has to be the mobile application.
The Parks app.
Yeah. And this isn't just like a digital map you download. It's the primary interface for personalization and, crucially, for data collection. Every single action someone takes inside that app, where they click, what they look at, it becomes valuable behavioral insight.
And that data starts flowing even before they arrive, right?
Yeah.
Through things like online ticketing and booking systems. The strategic edge there isn't just the convenience, the frictionless entry, which is nice, of course.
Yeah, it helps.
But it's the ability to gather really rich demographic and preference data maybe months in advance.
Yeah.
You can actually know if you're dealing with a family, a school group, or maybe a serious wildlife enthusiast before they even step foot on the grounds.
Exactly. Then the third piece is what I'd call the real-time engagement engine. Things like push notifications and location-based alerts.
Oh, okay. No.
This allows for immediate, really contextual marketing, like Promoting a new tiger feeding that's happening at 3 p.m., but only to guests who are currently near the Asia section of the park.
Or maybe offering like a 10% discount on souvenirs just as they're walking past the gift shop on their way out.
Precisely. It's timely and relevant. But the real magic, I think, happens with the fourth component, interactive content.
Okay, now we've heard terms like beacon technology thrown around. How does that actually work in a place like a huge, sprawling zoo? It sounds complicated.
It sounds more complex than it is, really. Think of beacons or maybe other proximity sensors as like tiny digital tripwires.
Okay.
So when a guest who's using the mobile app walks near, say, the primate house, the beacon triggers specialized content to pop up right there on their phone. Maybe it's a short video about that species diet or details on the park's specific involvement in their habitat restoration project.
Ah, so it transforms what could be just passively looking at an animal
Right.
into a much more active learning moment. It's not just a fancy digital plaque next to the enclosure.
Exactly. It deepens the educational mission right at the moment when the visitor is most engaged and receptive. And tying this all together, the fifth, absolutely critical piece, the data analytics platforms.
The brain of the operation.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
This is what takes all those inputs, where the guest walked, what content they engaged with, what they bought in the shop, maybe even what they ignored, and uses it to segment marketing efforts, to personalize future outreach, and crucially, to measure the success of every single campaign in hard, quantifiable numbers.
Okay, so if those are our core tools in the toolkit, let's try organizing this by the actual visitor experience. Let's show how these systems touch every single step of their journey, starting logically with pre-visit engagement, turning interest into action.
Makes sense. So the first touch point is usually that digital gateway, the website, maybe the mobile app before they even decide to visit. To maximize ROI, these need to be more than just online brochures. They need really compelling visual stories, powerful, clear calls to action. The content itself needs to build that emotional connection to the mission, long before they even think about clicking buy ticket.
And this feels like where the precision of targeted digital advertising really comes into play.
Absolutely.
By analyzing data on who has visited before or who shows interest online, parks can segment their audiences really strategically. So instead of just one generic ad for everyone,
Which is inefficient.
right, you're delivering specific content about, say, the new baby giraffe exhibit, maybe only to the demographics you've identified as families, while sending details on, I don't know, species protection lectures maybe to known enthusiast groups.
That targeted message alignment, that's where you really see your conversion rates spike. And on top of that, using social media for genuine community building is key.
How so?
Well, sharing engaging stuff like behind-the-scenes glimpses, maybe live Q&A sessions with the animal keepers, it creates immediate awareness and helps move people almost seamlessly from just being curious on Instagram to actually booking a ticket directly through the app.
Okay, so they've clicked buy, they're through the gate. Now we move to enhancing on-site experiences with real-time engagement.
Yeah.
And the first almost universal logistical hurdle at any big park is just navigating it, getting lost.
It's a huge one. And that's where the mobile app's interactive map and wayfinding feature becomes, honestly, a necessity, not just a nice-to-have novelty.
Like Google Maps, but for the zoo.
Essentially, yeah. GPS-based navigation right on their phone, maybe suggested itineraries to help them maximize their viewing time, even potentially showing crowd flow heat maps within the app to guide guests away from the really congested areas. It all adds up to higher satisfaction, less frustration.
And like you touched on earlier, this on-site phase is the prime time to bring that conservation mission to life. Those proximity-triggered educational tools, QR codes, the beacons we talked about, they let parks layer the experience, right? They can transform just looking at an enclosure into like a window on that animal's world, giving a depth to their story that simple signage just never could.
Exactly. Plus, that same digital engagement creates really crucial revenue-generating features. Think about it. If a guest is stuck waiting in a long line for lunch, a push notification promoting mobile ordering could pop up, letting them skip the queue entirely. Or if they linger for a while near, say, the cheetah exhibit, maybe a location-based alert pops up offering a chance to upgrade to a premium keeper-led tour right then and there. Or even to digitally adopt that specific cheetah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That seamless integration of mission, the education, the commerce that feel like the hallmark of maximizing ROI here.
Yeah.
It's using the interest, which is driven by the mission itself
Right.
to create an immediate financial conversion opportunity.
Exactly. And that convenience, that tailored experience, it extends right into the post-visit phase too.
Okay, let's talk about that. Post-visit engagement. Building long-term relationships. This feels like it's all about loyalty, about turning those one-time visitors into repeat customers, or even better, recurring donors or members.
Absolutely. Personalized follow-ups are basically non-negotiable now if you're serious about this.
Uh-huh.
Using the data you collected while they were on site, which exhibits they spent the most time at, or perhaps what species their kids really loved.
Uh-huh.
You can send really tailored emails or app notifications afterwards, maybe sharing some extra photos or fun facts about their specific favorite animal. That kind of emotional rekindling, it really drives loyalty.
And this is probably the best time to gather feedback too, right?
Yeah,
While the experience is still fresh.
definitely. Real-time surveys, maybe sent via the app, perhaps offering a small discount on their next visit as an incentive. That gives you continuous data for improvement.
Makes sense.
And crucially, this post-visit period is the prime time to push your loyalty programs and memberships, but always tying them back to the mission.
What do you mean?
Well, instead of just generic perks, offer members things like exclusive digital content, maybe a deep dive video into the park's vet work, or early access to new live stream footage of the animals. That reinforces their special status and helps ensure that repeat financial commitment.
I think we sometimes overlook the unique power of live streaming in this context. It's not just passive entertainment, is it?
Not at all. By providing those real-time video feeds, usually of the popular charismatic species like gorillas or pandas, directly on the website and in the app, parks maintain this continuous emotional connection, even when people aren't physically there.
And that ongoing emotional connection is actually a perfect revenue tool.
It really is. The live streams can and should feature a persistent direct link right there on the screen, encouraging viewers to maybe sponsor or adopt the species they're watching, or perhaps purchase related merchandise from the online store. It directly converts that awe factor from the video feed into measurable financial support for that specific animal's care and conservation.
And finally, maybe turning your visitors into your own viral marketers.
Exactly. Providing easy-to-use photo opportunities within the park, maybe branded filters in the app, clear hashtags to use. It encourages authentic user-generated content. That leverages the social capital of your happy visitors to amplify your reach far beyond what any paid advertising budget could achieve.
Okay, so all this digital engagement, all these touch points, they generate just a mountain of data. Let's move to the really crucial strategic element. How do parks actually use this flood of data to achieve operational efficiency and truly increase that ROI?
Right. The data analytics platforms we mentioned earlier, they allow parks to track really detailed patterns. Things like crowd heat maps showing where people congregate, dwell time at specific exhibits, even spending habits in specific retail locations or cafes.
And that's vital for resource allocation.
Absolutely vital. Understanding where staff needs to be deployed during peak times, or maybe which exhibits are underperforming and need a refresh or some new interactive content because visitor engagement seems to be dropping off there. It informs operational decisions.
What's truly astonishing here, though, is the scale of the opportunity, the competitive advantage just waiting to be seized. Our sources indicate that a recent survey of European zoos found that only, get this, 7% were using any form of digital technology to track guest behavior while they were on site.
Yeah, that number is stark.
The vast majority are still relying on, manual head counts, maybe rough estimates, or shockingly, nothing at all.
That 7% statistic, it really is a wake-up call for the industry. It highlights this huge gap between, aspiration, what parks want to achieve, and their current capability.
Yeah.
If you are tracking this stuff digitally, you are immediately operating in the top percentile of efficiency and insight in this sector.
But doesn't that massive gap, only 7% adoption, doesn't that suggest that maybe implementing this kind of technology is just incredibly expensive? Or perhaps it's too technically challenging for most of these organizations, especially the smaller ones.
That's a really fair point, and historically, yeah, implementing complex customer systems was often prohibitively expensive.
Right.
But the landscape has really shifted significantly. Today, there's dedicated attraction management software out there, platforms designed specifically for this industry. They offer more modular, scalable solutions.
Right.
These platforms can streamline the data integration, allowing parks to kind of skip that massive, bespoke, custom development phase that used to cost a fortune. Budget constraints are still a real challenge, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But the ROI you get from targeted personalization, from
Yeah.
operational efficiencies, it often dwarfs that initial investment within just a few years, especially if you start with the most versatile tool, like the mobile app.
And once you have that comprehensive data flowing in, you can really dive deep into segmentation and personalization. You're no longer sending out that generic, hey, thanks for visiting email to everyone.
Exactly.
You're targeting, say, the person who spent 45 minutes looking at the reptile house with a very specific offer for maybe a behind-the-scenes herpetology tour next time they visit.
That level of personalization, it drives conversion rates that general blanket marketing just cannot touch. We see this reflected in the success stories, like the Durrell Wildlife Conservation Trust's Jersey Zoo. They implemented an integrated app,
Right. You mentioned?
and their commercial operations director literally called their digital engagement platform a game changer, specifically noting its impact on raising conservation awareness and delivering that really personalized experience that's so crucial for building long-term support and donations.
And that success comes from integrating all those features we talked about. The digital ticketing, the day planning with reminders, the interactive wayfinding, those critical learning tools like quizzes, all of it underpinned by robust audience insights from the data.
And let's not forget the sort of softer benefits, too. Promoting sustainability by cutting down on paper maps and brochures.
Good.
And using gamification, things like digital scavenger hunts or challenges within the app to increase engagement and maybe guide people to less visited areas of the park. It's really about creating a holistic, positive experience that constantly reinforces the core mission.
Ultimately, it seems clear that these digital tools are fundamentally transforming zoos and wildlife parks, moving them from being just simple local attractions into these really comprehensive, data-driven hubs of education, vital conservation funding, and importantly, measurable financial success.
Yeah, the journey to maximizing ROI, it's definitely defined by continuous innovation now. Embracing these kinds of cohesive digital strategies, it positions these parks not just as, good places to visit for the day,
Right.
but as genuine industry leaders. It ensures their long-term financial health and, much more importantly, allows them to have a truly lasting impact on global conservation efforts.
Absolutely. So here is the final provocative thought for you, our listener, to consider. Given that staggering statistic that only 7% of surveyed European zoos are currently tracking guest behavior digitally, just think about the enormous untapped competitive advantage and perhaps even more urgently, the conservation funding opportunity that awaits the organizations willing to fully embrace a cohesive digital strategy right now. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you next time.